When I made my XR video, I had already given up on the Quest Pro, so I was basing my comparisons on memory, but now that I have one again, yeah, we'll get to that. Holy shit, the XR makes no sense for most people. The biggest issue that I had with the XR was the display. It is just subpar a standard LCD, whereas the Quest Pro uses a mini LED display with much better contrast. And in challenging situations that induce that haziness that I mentioned in my XR video, even when it does kind of happen here, the lenses or the actual screen itself is so good that even in that situation, you still have so much contrast that it's not that big a deal. Whereas on the XR, since you're already living in a lower contrast world, any additional haziness added onto that just feels kind of ridiculous. But definitely a much better screen, even though they're very similar resolutions. The Quest Pro was already such a good choice for PC VR streaming, mainly because the software is so good, so mature, and so stable. I never had any weird computer issues like I did with the HTC software. This thing just worked. And since the last time I tried it out, they added local dimming to this, which made the already fantastic visual experience even better because you get added dynamic range. So booting up a game like Half-Life Alyx on this, especially coming from the XR, felt like I was going from RTX off to RTX on. It really did make that much of a difference. Moving on to slightly smaller issues, the tracking of the controllers, coming back to these feels like I'm at home. Granted, I'm a little bit biased because I've used every single touch controller since the original Rift, so I really do like the feel of these, but objectively, everything just feels a lot better. It feels a little bit more evenly balanced. The triggers, the buttons, the analog sticks just feel of higher quality. The only thing that I miss from the XR is the longer stock, because that felt great for Beat Saber, and I miss that those had the option to charge through USB-C, whereas this, you are stuck with that weird pin, so you can either use the dock or use the cable that it came with. You could just find yourself in a bit of a weird situation if you happen to forget those and you're taking it with you somewhere, so just keep that in mind. Some people might not care too much about the audio experience, but for me, it actually became a more important thing than I realized. Especially coming back, it is just noticeably better. You have more low end. Obviously, it's not super basic because it's just open, but sounds a lot more full compared to the XR. So I don't feel a need to use headphones, especially when sim driving on the XR. It was just a little thin, so I was more tempted at least to use headphones, and at least here you get 3.5mm jacks, whereas on the XR you have to use a USB-C to headphone jack adapter, in which case you're not going to be able to charge it at the same time unless you get an adapter that lets you do both. And then I don't know, I thought that was a pretty dumb choice on their part. So overall audio experience a lot better. I was pretty vocal about how I thought the Quest Pro was just not comfortable. When I aligned it to my eyes, the back pad was just cranking down on the wrong part of my head and giving me a headache after about 30 minutes or so, and that was just not usable. So a lot of people told me to try a top strap, and I did. I just kind of DIY'd something, and it helped some, but what helped more for me in my particular issue is the fact that you can pop this back pad around, flip it 180, and push it back in, and that totally resolved the issue of it landing in kind of the incorrect area, at least for my above average sized head, apparently. So that's so nice. It's still not nearly as comfortable as the XR. The XR, I think that's still its number one feature, is that it's comfortable, but it's usable now. Now I actually have played a couple of hour-plus sessions with no issues, and it's so nice because I like pretty much everything else about it. If you're debating between the XR and the Quest Pro for standalone use, well, I don't know what you're thinking. Forget about the XR. The Quest Pro is the only thing that makes sense in that comparison because you have more content, exclusives, and it's cheaper, which I'm pretty sure Meta did on purpose because they dropped it right around the time the XR was nearing launch as a big fuck you to HTC. I know a lot of people don't want to be associated with Meta, have Meta accounts. I get it. I would rather not, but right now this is just the best hardware for the price. So until another manufacturer comes in and really disrupts, I know Pico's trying to do their thing, but I'm personally holding out, crossing my fingers, that Valve releases a standalone unit. That's when I really think the competition will pick up steam. Anyway, if you have any questions about stuff I covered or didn't cover, leave them down in the comments. I'm going to do my best to respond there. If you like this, if this helped you come to a decision, leave a like, subscribe to the channel for potential future content like this, and thanks for watching. Yeah. Peace.